Okay, welcome to the pre-show, everyone, where I'm still figuring out angles for today. Stove. Can't see the cutting board. Down. Yeah, beautiful face, beautiful apron. Can't see Jubilee, but that's alright. Okie dokie. Did not get as much done prior as I was planning, but that's fine. You'll just get to watch me shred a bunch of cheese in a little bit. Won't that be exciting? Grab the grater that I forgot before. And that box grater. A lot of tools today, my goodness. Oh, water. Need another pot for boiling noodles. So, gonna run off and get that going. So many things I meant to accomplish. Oh no, be right back. Water over here. Oh, here, guys. Off the corner, the water cooler. Not terrible content. There we go. And of course, I think I need another burner. Finally. Ooh, fancy. Yeah, and I got on a little bit for pre-show before I officially started because I was not quite ready. So there's actually people here for me to welcome. Ooh, not via Twitch app, I guess. So, now that we're here, thank you for tuning in. This is It's Good Enough to Eat. I'm Warren, pronounce he, him. Mark, you might hear yellow in the background, is playing Valheim, also he, him. So today we're making, everyone will say mac and cheese, but I'm not using macaroni, so it's not mac and cheese, so not mac and cheese. And we are doing it from scratch today. And we're making one pot meal, so it's really more of a noodle and cheesy casserole because it's got everything we need for dinner all together in one pot. Plenty of carbs and fat and delicious salty goodness. I have just chopped up some bacon that I have going back here so that can get sauteed off and crispy. And I'm going to use that fat for my vegetables. I'm not going to use that fat for my roux. I don't like how bacon fat works in a roux, at least in this. I feel like it gets too oily. I don't know. Oh, okay. Yeah, I should be in Twitch in general more, I guess, but I don't know. I tried earlier just to put it into one of my tabs in my screen, and it was auto-playing, and I didn't feel like dealing with it, so I just closed it. Cool. So what's going to take longest? Vegetables are probably going to take longest, so I'm going to get those ready. The cheese sauce actually comes together pretty quickly, so I'm not too worried about that, but I'm going to do my veg. There's a little place in Sacramento that I haven't been in over a year now, but Magpie Delicious Food, and they do a mac and cheese with bacon and Brussels sprouts, and it's really, really tasty. So I pretty much stole the exact same thing, uh, but I don't have quite as much Brussels sprout as I would normally put in. So I'll use what I have, and then I have some asparagus that I'll throw in. Close enough. It's not going to mess with my flavor profile. And it's the same color, so I'm not throwing anything crazy in there. Oh, I didn't get my chilies out. So my Brussels sprouts, I'm just trimming the end off and then cutting them in half. I want a fork size chunks of these, but I also want it just to do my pasta, so I'm not going to leave them whole. And I can crisp up the sides of these a little better if I do them in half. Let's get a little bowl. I did do my dishes. I got those taken care of. So I do have clean stuff ready to go. I don't have to go digging through cupboards. And then I've got some asparagus. I'm just going to take a few spears once I find the right hole. And this can go in the fridge for another day. You can just cut off a chunk of them. The way I like to figure out where to cut is just by snapping the end. This bit is kind of tough, so you don't want to eat it. And then you can just line up the rest of your spears and kind of do it the same place. If they're a thicker spear, then cut off a little bit more. There's going to be more of a tougher one. That was the thinnest one. I should have done a thicker one. So I'll just cut off a little bit more. There's my asparagus trimmed, and then I want to cut these also into bite-sized chunks. So I'm just going to run my knife through those. And there we go. That's all ready. I'm going to throw that in. Yeah, the bacon's about halfway there. I'm just going to continue cooking while I do my veg. So I'll just throw it right in. I'm not going to salt this bit because bacon is super salty as it is. So that I will just consider well enough seasoned, but everything else is going to have my layers of seasoning in it. Give that a stir. And let those just rock in there. Water's coming up. As soon as the water is in, I'm going to toss in some pasta. And you know me, I do my little bits and pieces of leftover things, so I didn't use all of the bag of pasta before, but it's also not quite enough. So I'll open a new bag of pasta and have part of this one left over. So that's how it goes. I don't want to just do the whole new one because I'll end up throwing out the other one, and I don't want to waste food, so that's how we'll do it. And I'll find a happy use for some pasta. Mark will want pasta salad at some point, so I'll do that. I should just push this back because you're only seeing like my forehead. Then I have to come way in to see who's saying hey. Hi. Oh, that's Fred, isn't it? Aha. Welcome to the stream. I've got a bunch of cloves of garlic here, and since I already have my microphone out, I will just use that instead of chopping it. Just going to prep this up, lightly crush it because I want it to maintain somewhat of its integrity since I'm grating it instead of chopping it. And I'm not going to chop off the end because that'll give me a nice little handle to use. So I will just take, some of these are going to go in the sauce. Some are going to go in the veg right now to get caramelized. Slightly different flavor profiles, just different aspects of your garlic. Just grate that right in. Some of these are sprouting a little bit of a little green bit. It's not going to hurt you. You can throw in with everything, or you can cut it off if it bothers you. Either way, not a big deal. And again, just grate this right in. So Larry popped in. Hey, Larry. We've achieved the delicious smells in the kitchen stage. Today, achieved through my garlic and my bacon cooking. No onions in this. I might throw a shallot in if I had one. I do have onions, but I don't think I want those in this today. So I'm not gonna put them in. I might have been feeling another day. Remember, all these recipes are just guidelines. You're gonna find your own little tweaks and variations to make them how you like them. That pasta water is boiling now. So here is another important part where I'm going to season my water, because that is how I get flavor into my pasta. This pasta is just flour and water and sometimes some eggs and not a whole lot of seasoning. It's really there to carry everything else. So this is going to get seasoning into the pasta itself. And give that a stir around just to make sure it's not sticking. There we go. Getting some nice crisp on my Brussels. There is a lot of oil in here. I'm going to drain most of that out because it's not going to play nice with my sauce when I get there. But this can just sit here and clean out while I get everything else done. So I'm going to start my sauce low because I have a million things to do before I actually start cooking that. And once I get my sauce going, I do want to pay attention to that because when you're making a roux, you have a chance of burning your butter. So roux is just a mixture of flour and butter. And you melt down the butter and stir in an equal amount of flour and just cook it until it smells nice, really, which is a good indicator. But you want to be stirring it pretty constantly so it doesn't burn. And that's just going to serve to thicken our sauce. So to that roux, we're going to add the milk. And if you just did that, if you just left it with the milk and seasoned it, you would have a bechamel, which is just a fancy French word for a white sauce. Like if you get a pizza with white sauce, it's usually a bechamel. And to that, we're just going to add our cheese, which makes it a cheese sauce. And I tried to choose some good melty cheeses today because we want it to melt down and make a real smooth sauce to incorporate into everything else. That pasta, I should really look at the time because that pasta is only going to need 8 to 10 minutes. And it's going to be safer to be slightly under than slightly over because this is going to go in the oven at the end to make a crispy top. And I don't want my pasta to become overcooked in the oven. So err on the side of slightly under. Dang, internet. Being terrible today. Oh. No worries. Thank you for stopping by and saying hi. And I will, of course, upload last week's video to YouTube today. And this week's will go up next. This week's will go up next week. That is what I want to say. And I should really get on to putting the recipes in the comment sections of YouTube because I had not done that for a little bit. I should do that before anyone yells at me about we're trying to watch your video, but we don't actually know what our recipe is. So I'm gonna try to make y'all happy. Get those recipes up. Okay. Garlic is done. I don't need this grater anymore. Fingers crossed. That was what I think before. before I'm really done with them. Just garbage. Take care of that later. Cool. Get my cheese going. So I've just got some mozzarella, which everyone knows melts real nicely because that's what everyone gets on their pizzas. And I've got some herby Gouda because I love me some Gouda. And it's got herbs in it, and that's going to add some more depth of flavor. That's going to go along with, I've also got, again, using bits and pieces of things I had left over, and I've got a little hunk of goat cheese over here as well that is left over. So I'm just going to throw that in. It'll taste good. It'll be delicious. It's never quite the same every time, so, but that's fine. I'm not trying to recreate this. As long as you have the basics, you can figure it out and mix and match, and you're gonna come up with something good enough to eat every time. Almost every time. Sometimes the gamer over there will tell me it wasn't quite as successful. And that's fine. We learn. Oh, thank you, Emil. I should really do that. See, I would invite you over and feed you and have you help me set some stuff up if we weren't undergoing a pandemic right now. Sometime. Yeah, I'm glad Brodo's bringing the puns because I cannot come up with them on the fly. That is not one of my powers, usually. Okay. Should have kept that cheese colder before I grated it. Would have made my life easier. This good is harder, so it's gonna be nicer to me. But it also has a rind, which I do not want to grate in. Let's just slice that off. And now I can finish grating that. There we go. Almost there. Slow down when you get to the end of your piece of cheese so you don't grate your fingers in. You're not flavoring it with blood. That's no good. Don't have to start over. And a little bit for the chef. Make sure the cheese is good, right? Before you put it in. Okay. Stir my pasta again. That's come along fine. It's been in there 6 minutes. Could add some keep dry. This looks perfect and yummy. Get a piece out. There's my nice crispy Brussels sprout. It's gonna be nice and delicious. Turn that off. That is done. Now that my cheese is ready, I will turn up my butter. And here's one thing I will actually measure. I do want to make sure I have about the same amounts of butter and flour. Just gonna toss some flour right in there. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm just really bad about thinking about this when I'm not actually in the midst of doing it. So there is my flour in, and I'm just going to whisk that until it cooks just a little bit. I don't want to burn it, which is why I'm moving it around. But I can use my nose and watch it get thicker until it is ready to add my milk. Turn it down a little bit up to make it ready. That's just bubbling away, cooking out the rawness of my flour. You don't want that raw flour flavor. And that's what's going to get you your nice, thick, smooth, creamy sauce. Cool. So now that's ready. Go ahead and throw in the milk. And now it's not so important to make sure it keeps moving because the milk is going to prevent it from burning. So long as, and within reason, you can always cook something too long and it'll burn. If I just let it cook and all the liquid came out of it, it would be happy times. Just gonna let that simmer a little bit, and I'm gonna add some seasonings. So, some salt, of course, because it was delicious Kerrygold, but it was unsalted butter. So that's in there. I'm gonna add my garlic. Start getting that infused. And of course, I was not done with my grater microphone because I forgot about my nutmeg. Busy pepper. Throwing pepper in here. Hold the pasta right now, actually. It is done. Drain this real quick. I'm just going to set that in my serving receptacle that I'll show you briefly in a brief moment. Get that out of the way. And let's debunk the myth that you need oil in your pan in your cooking pasta. It does nothing for you. It doesn't make it stick any more or less. I won't say any more, but yeah, it doesn't help. Just salt and stir. And make sure you have a big enough pot. One trick actually for cooking pasta faster is to get a big shallow bowl, kind of like this. I could have cooked it in this bowl, in this pan, and it would have, the water would have come up faster, and it would have cooked my pasta faster, just from spreading it out and giving it some extra surface area. So as this cooks, just over medium heat, it will start thickening, and eventually it'll turn into that lovely white sauce, the bechamel that I was talking about. We've used this on homemade pizzas before. I would throw in some more herbs or something in it if I was doing it that way. But yeah, it comes together pretty quick and tastes really nice. But since we are making our not mac and cheese, we are going to, in a minute, throw a bunch of cheese into that. Garlicky. Over the nose, always nose. Okay, that is nice and thick. At this point, I'm going to turn my oven on. Set my shelves where I need them before it's hot. I actually remembered that. Check the oven so I don't burn things that Mark might have proofing. And I am ready for cheese. So here's my goat cheese. And all my other lovely cheese just sat right in my grater for me. Super nice of it. And some extra scraps. I'll just throw it in my topping, which I have over here. And I'll be fine. Don't have to worry about getting every little bit in there. It's all going in the same place. So this is just gonna stir around until we melt the cheese, and that's all that we need to do. If it looks too thick, like you can't coast your pasta with it, you can just go ahead and add some more milk. I might do that because it is looking really thick, and I do have to stir this through my noodles. I'm gonna throw a little bit more. Just spread it out. And try to find a place in the fridge floor. Okay. That out of the way. After all I talked about my nutmeg, I never actually put it in the sauce. Ah, goodness, that's what happens when you don't fully prepare ahead of time, folks. Do not have my mise en place done. I don't know why nutmeg, but I know why I do it. I don't know why it's done, but it just seems to be it. I kind of associate it with a sweeter spice, like being in mulled wines and ciders and things, but for some reason in a white sauce, it is a nice complementary flavor. And that is something I picked up from Rachel Ray in my beginner cooking days a million years ago. Okay, that looks nice. There's a little more time just to melt through, but it's coming together. That's the other thing, of course, that I forgot. Can't have anything without a little heat, so I'm just going to get some red chili flakes. Throw that in there. If I had properly prepared, I would have gotten some, I got a fresh jalapeno that I would have cooked in the veg, and that would have been nice in there too, but since I wasn't quite prepared myself, I worked a little later today. These will do. And of course it's good enough. Wouldn't put it in there if it wasn't. So our nice gooey sauce. Keep that there. So I've got my oven safe bowl right here. It's a present from my mom's neighbor last Christmas. Sent me a Crate and Barrel gift card. Pick this up, not too expensive, and it's pretty nice. A nice little wooden trivet thing that fits the bottom. Just gonna loosen my pasta, make sure it's not sticking together. And then I'm going to scoop my veg and bacon out. I don't think the utensil that I want, but I'll make do. Make some room. I wonder if there's been a cooking show since I dropped one of their serving dishes. I'm sure there has been. Of course, that doesn't make it into the final cut. That would be silly. That is the excitement of cooking live, right? Oh, I bet there's been some. Actually, I could probably think of some episodes of like Worst Cooks or Kitchen Nightmares where someone does some precarious drops it. I'm going to mostly drain all my fat out of this. You can save that fat just in a sealed container in the fridge and use it for cooking your eggs the next morning, doing something. Whatever you do, don't throw it down the drain. That is not a place for fats. Stir this up. Then, let's see, I'm going to pour my sauce right down over it. There we go. Kind of gets that same effect that a lot of old-timey recipes would get with like creamy mushroom soup. It's just my creamy casserole sauce. Make everything a lovely, cohesive. Excuse me. That's that pepperoni for you. I'm not drinking a mojito today. Ginger ale will do that to me, make me sneeze a whole bunch. You can't sneeze in the kitchen because it's gonna get in and around everything. So I had to make sure to sneeze out into the hallway. And of course, wash your hands. So here's my lovely gooey noodle stuff. And mix into my pasta. Oh, I could have made some more pasta. It's not quite filling the dish. Whatever. It's fine. I didn't need to leave that extra half a bag. And then I just have a mixture of those last couple cheese scraps and some breadcrumbs. And then I did grate a bunch of Parmesan in this, and I am just going to make. I did not say Amazon. I said Parmesan. Timer doesn't know what's going on. Alexa over there. I'm just going to give a good scattering of this all over the top. Smooth it out, and that is going to give me a nice crispy topping. And of course, I probably should have tasted my sauce before this stage. That's good. There we go. And then this whole thing is just going to slide right into the oven. And that's just going to cook for 20-ish, 20 to 30 minutes until the top is nice and crispy and brown. And I mean, you can eat it now. It's done. Everything cooked. But we're going through that extra layer of flavor. And brown food is usually delicious food. And I think good thing that was mostly empty. Oh goodness. It's just kombucha. Remind me not to put Robo in charge of the shopping list. Oh, I meant to tell Mark to tell all the folks on Valheim to tune in, but whatever. Wouldn't Emo want to see all this cheese? All this lovely cheesy goodness? Oh, I do have pockets. Haha. Cool. Any questions for the folks in the room? Because that's just going to sit there and I'm going to log out and take some lovely photos when we're about to eat. If not. Oh, I didn't see your full octopus up there earlier, Larry. That's pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna remember to text Robo, get myself set up. Sure, there's a bunch of tools everywhere. Yeah, I haven't really explored all the things that Twitch has to offer yet. Yes, I will get those recipes uploaded. But yeah, for now, thanks for tuning in. I hope y'all learned something, or at least what a roux and a bechamel are. Of course, just feel free to call it white sauce, because that's really what it is. Um, And if you have any questions, I'll answer those later. And remember, it's always good enough to eat. And I will send links to link to YouTube is on my Instagram. Instagram is the same handle as this one, and that is where I will post the result photos. And I'm trying to get better at that too. I need to set myself up a area for documentation and stuff. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Have a great night, guys.